Welcome back to week 4 of the Phroad Street Phandom podcast. On today's episode, we're going to cover obviously what's happened over the last week with the Phillies, upcoming matchups, kind of what's been going on in the NL East. We've also had the NFL draft over this week, so we'll touch on kind of what the Eagles did, some of the NFC East, dive into a little bit of the basketball playoffs as well as the NHL draft lottery and the unfortunate happenings that happened there. So let's just get right into it. For today's episode, I am drinking a Dogfish Head 30-minute IPA, low cal, watching my girly figure. So, yep.
And you guys know what I'm drinking already. So
Yeah, you always watch that girly figure.
I do have a suggestion for you in the mailbag.
Oh,
there you go.
Beer?
For beer?
Right.
Oh, nice. We'll get to that later.
All right.
I'm actually intrigued myself.
Get rock into the craft breweries, not just the old macro breweries.
I've tried some of them. I'll try it out. I'll try it out.
There we go.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's dive right into it. So, Phils, they last we talked, I think we were talking about, we go into a series with the Marlins. These are the teams that you have to beat.
Yeah.
So, opening up the series, we have Wheeler against Alcantara. So, of course, you want Wheeler to start off going up against their ace as well. And, they were able to come away with the win. Able to get some run support.
So Wheeler, he hadn't had the greatest starts. I think it was the previous 2 starts he wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him get back into form, 7 innings, 13 Ks. Sandy Alcantara, obviously the kid was so good that he hurt his elbow.
Right.
And coming back, he hasn't really established himself yet. So it's great to jump on him early. I was still kind of nervous, watching him again against us, but
he usually lights us up for sure.
Yeah. Then Harper homered in the first, Schwarber homered in the 7th, or hit his 7th home run in the 5th inning. So good to see the offense kind of step up.
Yeah. Give him some support. It's always nice to see.
Yeah. And then, Wheeler again, just dominant again. Love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he sets the tone. So, being able to get that first win is definitely huge against a team that you should beat. So, going into the next matchup, we have our Saiwan Walker against Quantrill. So this matchup, Taiwan being Taiwan, right?
Yep. Well, that game was wild, right? So it was 11-10 was the final. We were up. I was live betting this game. I think I took the live under of 15.5. And then fucking Romano comes in. Gives up 6 earns in the 9th inning. So the Phillies squeak out a win at 11-10. So that game should have been a lot better than it was. But yeah, I mean, Taiwan 4 innings, 1 earned. So, he didn't pitch terrible. Carlos Hernandez gave up 3. And then again, Romano just watching the 9th inning, just like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's just out there serving meatballs.
It's like he was just trying to give it up. Like he was doing everything he could just to be like, we're going to lose this game.
Yeah. Absolutely terrible to watch. But, again, thank God we scored those, runs at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I ruined my bet. But you know what? Just never, ever going to bet under the Phillies ever again with this fucking bullpen.
Yeah. Then Sunday, they go in. You got Luzardo against Gillespie. Fortunately, they catch a loss here.
Yeah, I mean, Luzardo, he's been a stud, man. He did his job. He's been so good since he's come over. I think Kirkering was the one that sucked.
Yeah, bullpen, game, right?
Yep. Kirkering was awful there. The offense jumped out 3 runs in the first. The 5-7 guy from the Marlins, Sanoha, 5 RBIs that game. So he was pretty much their entire offense, and the Marlins got the dub.
Yeah.
It's tough. Harper doubled in the first, Cassidy singled at them to get up to 3 runs in the first inning.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, just bullpen.
They seem to do that sometimes. They're at home, they get a quick lead, and everybody's just like, oh my God, we're winning, we're winning. And then they just go, all right, we're taking off the rest of the game. I'm just like, oh, the guys have a lot more innings.
Yeah. So, you take 2 of 3 against the Marlins. It's a series win, but obviously you want more. So, I mean, leading up into a big series, we had the Mets coming in. And unfortunately, honestly, we got our asses kicked. It seemed a couple of the games were close, but it felt like we weren't really in them.
They look just as bad as the division series.
Yeah. So the first matchup, Nola against McGill. Nola gives up a couple runs early on in the game. And then, typical fashion, no run support. Absolutely nothing.
So Lindor and Winker hit home runs in the first and second inning. Lindor again hit a 3-run home run after Nola got pulled. So Nola was only given 2 of those 3 runs.
Yeah.
And then Stott hit the 3-run home run in the 9th to make it a 4-5 game. But ultimately, that game was over, right?
Right. Yeah. It was nice to see that they have a little bit of, especially the time that they can hit that guy. It's lovely to see.
My favorite thing with him is that he points up thinking it's a pop-up.
Everything's a pop-up. And then it gives it everything's a moonshot.
So, obviously everyone I think is well aware of my hatred for the Mets. So I was not happy with 100%. That the next couple of years we're going to talk about here. So.
Yeah, so that one's unfortunate because again, it's like Nola struggled earlier this year, and he actually, other than the solo home runs, he pitched pretty well, and no run support to show for it. And it just seems like that's the trend when it comes to him, which is unfortunate. So, moving into game 2, we have Sanchez against Canning. Sanchez gave up, similar to Nola, a couple runs early in the game. We weren't able to muster any run support either.
Yeah.
So 2-1, basically going into the 7th inning, they give up another 3.
Kirker.
Kirker. He's been pretty
bad. Yeah. I know he's had a lot of hype. Him coming in, was it the World Series year or the NLCS year?
I think NLCS year.
He was lights out. Breaking into the scene of the MLB. Started great.
Yeah, he gave them something that people haven't seen. Like the sweeper that he has is filthy.
Yeah. But I was telling you, like he literally has that one pitch, and I've noticed that they go, well, we don't swing at that one.
Exactly.
We can take them yard,
right?
And you can get hits everywhere. And I'm like, you're one trick pony. You're not gonna last very long.
So I don't know if he needs to add another pitch or just use what else he has more. You can't throw the sweeper every single time. Especially when they're going to lay off it.
And they need to put him in less. They need to put him in earlier situations, not 8th inning.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. So hopefully he can turn it around because he has been a kind of sore spot in the bullpen.
He's also why someone like him is why they didn't get others because they thought that he
was going to be.
He could step up, and I'm like, well.
So fortunately, Sanchez takes a loss. We lose 2 of 3 or 2 of 3 at the time to the Mets. Going into the final game of the series where you have Wheeler against Peterson. So we're hoping that Wheeler can kind of stop the downhill roll and get us back in the winning column. He gives up 2 runs early when he comes in and gets a little bit of run support. It was 2-2 going into basically the 10th, and this is one of those extra inning ones where. We're able to put one across. I think this game they left the bases loaded in the 10th. I think they got one. I think they got 1 run out of the bases loaded. They weren't able to add any more across, and then the Mets just add 2 to walk it off. So
Romano again. Gives up the walk off. Again, I think you're starting to see a trend here of just how bad the bullpen is.
Yep,
and also the offense, right? We only scored 3 runs.
Yeah,
and it took us 10 innings, and we only got 3 off of them. The Mets have our number, dude.
Especially in New York. For some reason in New York, we cannot win. I think they've lost.
10. Like I said, all the hype was around like it's the rematch of that. I know. I'm like, this is not.
And we didn't even show up.
And then we acted like it. We acted like it was that same series. We're just like, oh yeah, we'll just repeat it.
Yep. So very unfortunate. We dropped 3 to the Mets, who we were contending with in the division.
Yeah.
So. That pads their lead on us. Definitely not a good situation. Then we go up against, into the weekend, another division winning or leading team in the Cubs. So we're in Chicago. First game, so we dropped that one as well. So you got
that was the Taiwan. That, I think it was 86 pitches in 3 innings. There was 38 pitches in the first, I believe, or something wild. I know it was windy and cold and nasty. The weather wasn't great, but. Dude, come on, man.
Yeah. But
this is terrible.
He gave up a couple runs here, there. 1 run here, 1 run there. But it's like they couldn't get anything going. Again, the offense literally for a week did nothing, it seems. So you dropped that game to the Cubs, which is 5 in a row at this point?
Yep.
Yeah, because we lost to the
Marlins the last game.
3 against the Mets and then the Cubs. So that whole Sunday through Friday didn't even get a W.
Season over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we were ready to set up the funeral with our black ties and bury them.
I googled a hotline that you can call for people that are struggling with mental health.
Yeah, no,
so, it's brutal week, that's for sure.
Definitely.
So, but again, it's middle of April, right? So
it is. It's funny that we talk about this. Well, last year they get out to a very similar start, honestly. They weren't lighting the world on fire.
Yeah.
Very similar in kind of where they were at. They just went on a tear for about 2 months where they did nothing but win. They were talking about, oh my God, this team might set the MLB record of they're on pace for it. I was like, yeah, but let's temper our.
Yeah, and also like last year, like the Braves weren't playing good ball that well early on either, and the Mets weren't what they are now.
Well, and also the Braves last year were hurt. I mean, I don't remember exactly when they lost Acuna, but you lose Acuna and they lost Strider pretty early, right? So at that point, it's like, I think that's pretty depressing to lose two of your key players. And it's like, all right, now we got to, rebound and get back on track, which, later towards the end of the year they did, and they were able to actually compete towards a playoff spot.
Yeah.
But, they're getting these guys back this year. So we'll see how it is. I mean, again, going into this, losing 5 in a row, 3 of which to the Mets, you're not helping yourself out at all, especially this early in the season. So, game 2 against the Cubs. Hopefully they're able to get a win. And who would have thought? Luzardo.
Yeah.
Luzardo is able to, actually show up. They get 6 runs in the 4th inning. It seems like that.
6-run 4th. A guy that I've been hating on this whole season, Kepler.
Yeah.
His second home run. Congrats, dude. It only took you 20 games to hit your second home run. And then Luzardo's ERA down to 1.73.
Yeah. So like you said before, it's like he's been as
better than
as advertised. Right? So it's like he's doing well, and he was able to obviously get us back on the right side. So 10-4 win over the Cubs. Always good to see when we're able to take down that elite team in Chicago. So the rubber match, we have Nola going against Taillon.
Yeah.
And we were able to pull this one out in extras.
Yeah.
So another barn burner, 1-1.
But that was a Nola start that he pitched really well. And,
he did.
Still no run support. They were like, oh, sorry, you don't get a decision, but thanks for 6-7 innings of 1 run.
Right. So I guess one highlight of this week is Nola looks like he actually is kind of getting back into form. So which is good to see, because you're definitely going to need him to be. I mean, if you combo him with your Sanchez, Luzardo, Wheeler, and you have Nola pitching at elite form, that's 4 guys there that can take you a long way.
Ranger coming back.
Yeah, Ranger eventually coming back. Whatever we're getting out of Sion.
Yeah, you gotta stop that. You gotta stop that. That was dead after
the 80
the 80 pitches.
Yeah. So we were able to take 2 or 3 from the Cubs, which is huge going up against another division rival, or not division rival, but a division leading team that you're competing with in the playoffs. So it sets up to like this upcoming week. We have the Nationals. They're always a thorn. Sometimes they help us, sometimes they're just the ones that just take it out on us. So Nationals, then we have the Diamondbacks, another team we're probably going to be competing with for a playoff spot. And then we have the Rays, which is, an AL team that, we weren't high on coming this year. They have some young talent.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have enough to compete. Warren in the AL East, but, there's a tendency for us to just drop games to those teams. So hopefully they take care of business and get back up to where they need to be.
And you never really know what's going to happen with the Rays, right? Like they always do this, right? There's no name guys that's going to play good baseball.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, very Moneyball edge.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
So during this time, we mentioned it. The Mets, they go 9-2. Before they played us, they swept the Cardinals. Won 3 from us, so that's 7 in a row. Just padding that lead in the division. And then, as
40 wins.
As I mentioned, our Nationals, the Thorns, they were able to split with them. So they go 2-2 in a 4-game series. One of which we were actually at the game. Shout out to Tyler, one of our lovely listeners. We were at his bachelor party, so we actually were able to witness the Mets and all of their lovely fans in Nationals Park. So they got up to, what was it, a six run first inning or something? Yeah, 6-0 early. Yeah, got up early. So they're all, let's go Mets, let's go. Yeah, just driving us nuts, driving us to drink. Yeah.
So brutal setting to watch baseball.
Oh yeah. We had a great spot, great stadium room spot. We were in left field. Beautiful park. Beautiful.
Yeah, park is awesome.
Park is nice. Except they don't sell Miller Lite. They're only
Miller Lite.
I found it in one spot.
Whoa, because when I went
there was one bar on the second level that I found.
Oh wow, because when I went there last year, as soon as I walked in there, I had a Miller left over from and I said, "You got any Miller?" And he was like, "Not in the whole stadium." I was like, "Dude, you got that's a joke, right?" He was like, "Nope," because I thought he was kidding because I was a Phillies fan. He was like, "No, we're sponsored by Anheuser-Busch." Yep. And I was like, "This is horseshit, dude. Like, I got to drink Michelob Ultra now the whole day. Like,
hey, at least you're hydrating."
Yeah, right.
What was the tea that you drank? You guys all like that one, right?
I can't remember what it was.
Hoop tea or
no, it wasn't that one, but
I think it might have been
there's Riverside. Riverside's another one. Those are not River. Yeah, no, it's River something.
It's something like that. Yeah, I can't remember. One of those, yeah, we're not sponsored by them yet. So
no.
But after a week of drinking nothing but Miller Lite, I needed a little bit of a flavor change. So I think a few of us were like, "Hey, let's try these alcohol teas or alcohol like half and half lemonades." And hey, we're pretty good.
Surfside, is that?
It's something. It's something like that, but I can't remember.
It was still racking my brain. I was like, I know there's a damn tea out there like that, like one of those. Yeah.
So, but no, we enjoyed several of those, and we were watching the Mets, win. McGill was pitching; he was pitching very well. And then, fortunately, hey, they had to take McGill out of the game. So bullpen comes in, and couple of, I think it was a 3-run home run, couple just scoring some runs. They were able to get within reach, and
5-run 7th inning by the Nats.
Yeah,
and then they walked off.
They walk it off.
I was home watching the game, by the way.
Yeah, at that time we were stuck in traffic.
I was stuck in traffic.
Oh, you guys were.
Yeah.
I got it. Let's go.
Yeah. We were like, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of
here. But now it's it was lovely to see that the Nats walk it off. So that was some enjoyment at the end of the weekend. So yep. So and the Braves, I mean, they're right on that tail too. So they went 7-2 over this week. They swept the Twins.
Yeah.
They win 2 or 3 against the Cardinals, and then they win 2 or 3 against that same team we mentioned we're playing this week in the Diamondbacks. So they're not going to go away. It's going to be a 3-team race. We're just going to make sure that we stick in there.
That's why that 5-game losing streak sucks ass.
Absolutely.
You got to take care of business while they're down.
I mean, get at least, if you're going to lose the Mets, get at least one.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's going to it's going to help you down down the line, and then Marlins go 4-5 over his period. Nationals, as we mentioned, they go 6-4. So, as long as they can keep beating up on the teams that we're competing with and, lose to us,
love that.
Love it. Love to see it.
Yeah. And then keep getting these kids that are going to be good that we can sign them and pay them $300 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, at least we dodged the Rendon bullet. So
maybe we get James Wood. James Wood in a couple years.
Yeah, dude, he is so fucking tall.
Yeah, he's insane.
He is. Yeah. You just like stand. We were in left and watching. Like, this guy is as tall as the wall. He's such a big dude.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be a problem in years to come. But definitely again.
Well, he's already hitting the ball opposite field. Just like no problem. Just goes. Slices it right out of the park.
Yeah, I mean they've been good about drafting good players. I mean, they just don't pay them. So that's where the Phillies use them as a farm system, basically, as the Braves use the A's. And, that's where we got a lot of our, we benefit from. So, I mean, we'll see what next week has. We've got some matchups here that we definitely need to take care of business. Hey, maybe we can get some run support. It'd be nice if we get this offense actually going. So, but
hold your breath.
Yeah, exactly. But NFL draft happened. So, Eagles were drafting at 32. So you're basically waited to just about the last minute.
Yeah, we had a trade with the Chiefs, and
Howie having to do how he moves, and I was like, really, you have to trade up one spot? Like, just I don't get it. Yeah, to get your guy, you can't just ask the team.
He must have known maybe the Chiefs were looking at getting him. I don't know.
I mean, they need
linebackers. They need linebackers as well. So
So I mean, I don't know too much about this kid, to be honest. I just
Jahad Campbell.
We know the shoulder injury was
the shoulder injury.
Linebacker from Bama. We love SEC defensive players. So
Bama, Georgia, just keep pulling those guys in. So, I don't think he's necessarily going to help the team this year. I think he's a down the line guy. Just because of the shoulder injury, he might, come in mid-season and kind of get some snaps here
It'll
or
be
there.
interesting to see what they do because I mean, Dean, I don't know if he would be able to start.
I think they play two different positions, though, too.
Yeah,
They're listed as
so,
linebackers,
yeah,
but
he's listed as linebacker.
unfortunately for Cameron's bet, they're not going to he's an edge rusher.
This is why I wanted to keep Burks because Burks would be perfect for what's happening until those guys are ready to fully go back in.
Yeah, still a little salty about that bet, right? So it was, I forgot what the odds were, but it was basically like Eagles first pick, like by position. And I took defensive end because, we leased Sweat. I was like, they're going to draft an end guy, right? Like it's either going to be in D line or O line. I was like, let me see the odds on defensive end. I think it was plus 100. And then they draft the linebacker, and then it's like they're saying afterwards that he's probably going to be
an edge rusher.
I'm like, son of a bitch, that's like defensive line.
He's basically going to play the Brandon Graham spot.
He's
listed as linebacker.
List him as they just say the word edge. They could be outside linebacker or I'm like,
it's just an easy way for the bet.
The
bet guys to
So here's what it is. It wasn't that much money.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess a funny story from that we heard was I guess Howie reaches out to the Redskins to try to jump up a little bit, just make sure he gets his guy Campbell.
Yeah.
And the Redskins GM once he answered the phone, he was like, there's a in division tax. So
Cowboys and Giants don't do that with us.
That's just ridiculous.
They love trading draft picks to us.
Yep.
Thank you, Giants, for Devontae Smith.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I think the Giants are also, the Cowboys are taking him too. So they let us trade up, and Parsons falls to, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, speaking of the Giants.
Oh, do we want to talk about our whole draft?
Oh, we could jump into it.
I was going to mess up. We drafted Makuba.
Go down the list of who we got.
So we drafted the second round. We drafted the safety Makuba from Texas, which they kind of think he's a ball hawk. Like he jumps it, so they're hoping he's maybe another CJ, kind of just a cheaper option. Then round 4, number 111, they went with Ty Robinson, defensive tackle from Nebraska, which is aka the Vanilla Gorilla is his name. So
we'll see.
Have you guys seen those? What was it? 100 men versus?
Oh my god, that thing was the funniest stuff. I loved it. I don't want to fully dive, but I think the girl's gonna get tired, right? You would think.
Right?
Yeah. I don't think 100 of me can take down one.
But I think
it's gonna get tossed like a fucking.
say the first.
At least the first 25 of you.
The first guy goes in there, and then you see him get ripped apart. There's gonna at least be 50 of them. They're gonna be like, "Fuck this!" I'm not going in there. Like, what the hell's the benefit of this? To see him get happen? Make AI do it or something. See if they can pan out.
All right, so we'll put the Vanilla Gorilla. That's a gorilla.
100 of him against the gorilla. We'll see.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, definitely.
We'll have better odds with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we had 3 picks in round 5. We went well defense. We went Mac Williams from University of Central Florida, corner, and then we drafted another Georgia linebacker, Samel Mondin Jr.
You nailed it.
Have to get one of those guys.
Yeah, I was going to get George guy.
I think the main thing about him is he's probably going to be special teams. Is what they're saying. He's a runner on there, gunner, or whatever they call it on that.
Yeah. I think a lot of those guys in that 4 beyond are you make your time on special teams, and then if you can,
They drafted Drew Kendall, a center, so that's another Stoutland guy who can obviously we're good at center for 4 years, so we're set there. Then round 6, which is our last round we picked, we had 4 picks in there. We drafted a quarterback, Kyle McCord from Syracuse. He's a local kid, so he's an Eagles fan growing up. So they were he's excited, obviously.
He was the one that was at Ohio State, right? Wasn't he Ohio State then transferred to Syracuse?
Then transferred to Syracuse. So he's excited about coming back to the area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then there's two more offensive linemen, Miles Hinton from Michigan and Cameron Williams from Texas. So there are 2 more guys. Miles Hinton's the big guy.
Yeah.
So they obviously we'll figure out where they can fit in, and Stoutland will get them ready to go.
Yeah, they like to go to the trenches.
But it's nice
we talked about
in those areas.
We're 100%, yeah. And they love to take those guys, see what Stoutland can do, especially on the offensive side. But any kind of, that's how they built. They built through the trenches. We've mentioned that many times before on episodes. So
they went with one more edge guy, Antoine Powell Ryland from Virginia Tech. Okay. So people were excited about him. He's a high motor guy on the edge, so they think eventually he can slide in the way they like to rotate people in and out.
So what do the experts at NFL.com got us?
They gave us an A-.
A-.
Yeah.
Howie's slacking.
I think Howie's just got a reputation. They're like, what a pick by
Oh,
Howie.
great
man,
guy.
you just know it's gonna work out for him.
I mean, him jumping up to 31. Gosh.
Yeah,
move as a draft.
Yeah,
what Cleveland sent
way to fleece the Chiefs there.
Yeah, exactly.
After beating them in the Super Bowl and then swap
and then you take their pick. Oh man,
like
shoving it to Reed one more time.
All right, so I know we kind of mentioned it. Let's get right into the Giants because they did have a couple.
So then we know the Jets and
Abdul Carter. It's going to be a good pick.
That's going to be a great pick.
Hopefully, in 5 years, he's the next Eagle.
We'll see. Thibodeau was supposed to be that guy too.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of talent on paper on that defensive line.
Yeah,
that defensive line is stacked.
Yeah, I just remember all the hype with Thibodeau. Everyone was saying he's going to be the next Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been that at all. So we'll see what Carter has. I mean, obviously, like I'm not saying that he's going to be a bad player at all, but hopefully the Giants find a way to run.
I also think the Giants were like, well, he's there, he's right there, and he's also we make a splash because obviously he's at Penn State, and obviously Eagles wanted him. So I mean, they can't miss him.
He's an Eagles fan.
He's an Eagles fan. So now they got their
just like Parsons.
Their defensive line could be. I mean, they got Dexter Lawrence already there. I mean, they're pretty stacked on the defensive line. I mean, but obviously they can't get through our line, so I don't think that really matters. But Carter could obviously be.
I mean, he may be a problem twice a year.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
If he's lined up against Mailata, or if he's on the other end.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like you're going up against Lane Johnson or Mailata. So good luck, kid.
Yeah. So then they moved back up in the first round. Like we thought they were getting Shador. Everybody thought they were moving up. They were getting Shador. And then they went with Jackson Dart.
Mm-hmm.
And I
heard Dayball was not a fan of Shador.
Well, that's
all reports. It's nothing coming from the Giants, but I did hear that he was not happy with the way the interview went.
I think Sanders was the same way. Sanders was,
And then they had a video come out that Jackson Dart, like, they loved his entire time he was in the room with them. Like, so you could see just from that video that they were like, "This is our guy," like straight up. Well, I mean, Jackson's a quarterback in the first round, and then you already have Winston and Russell Wilson. And you've already said Russell Wilson's your starter.
Well, so look at it this way: they're not putting the pressure on him. I mean, look at the Jets. They had Zach Wilson that they drafted.
Right.
I think half of that kind of ruined him anyway because it's like you're throwing him right to the wolves.
Yeah.
So give the kid time to develop. Give him time to learn from. Look, you have Russell Wilson who won Super Bowls. You have Jameis Winston that has been in the league for a while, been around, so he's seen a lot.
I just think Winston went there to be the starter because he was the first one signed. He thought, "Hey, I'm going to start for the New York Giants," and now they've done two other quarterbacks, and it's like he could have went to one of those other teams that had a spot that he probably could have started at. So
I mean,
so it's a little interesting in that sense. It's like,
they can compete. Yeah, but I think it's going to be good for Dart to learn from those guys.
Oh, 100%.
So
I agree.
Unfortunately, not rooting for him to succeed, but we'll see what ends up happening. So
I'd say the only other notable guy they drafted out of the names I know is the running back in the fourth round, the Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah, he was in Arizona, right?
He was in Arizona State. Yeah, but he had a lot of yards. Like he was up there with Gent.
He's one of those like gritty guys.
Yeah, like they asked him the other day how he's like, I haven't even run a snap yet. So like, let's just they asked him if he had what's the word on your shoulder? Chip on the shoulder.
Chip on the shoulder.
Like, give me. I haven't even done a snap yet, so we'll see. Like, how it goes. Like,
sure.
So what did
the white superlatives that every white running back gets? He's a high motor guy, high IQ guy.
Peyton Hillis.
Maybe he'll get cover of Madden one
year. Yeah.
What did the experts have?
They gave them an A
hey.
for the whole draft. Yeah.
God, Hal, you're letting us down. Giants out. How did you?
Yeah.
All right. How about the Cowboys? What the Cowboys do?
Well, I gotta find them on here. I could do the Commanders next because they're right here.
All right, go with the Commanders.
Let's do that next. They're right in front of me.
The Commanders' first pick is offensive tackle. So they did trade for Tunsil. So they're trying to shore up that offensive line for Jaden Daniels. Obviously, they've got weapons now. They've got Debo. They've got
Debo. Yep.
Eckler, Robinson. So they've got weapons. So just trying to
Ertz again. They re-signed Ertz.
So we'll see what happens with them. But I mean, it makes sense, right? Like offensive tackle for them. Like they need a line up.
Yeah,
I think that was pretty evident because Jaden Daniels, he's a mobile quarterback, but two, he's also running for his life back there when he's trying to pass. So
so it seems like they're doing it right. Also, news came out, their new stadium coming. And they get the draft in 2029. I think that's when it was.
27, I believe, right?
27, yeah, because it's Pittsburgh next year, and then Washington,
even sooner. So, but it seems like Harris goes there, kind of turns that whole franchise around a little bit. So,
spend the money smartly instead of doing whatever the hell
Snyder was doing.
Snyder was
Snyder, yeah.
Dumbass. He was just worried about getting big. He wasn't worried about putting a good product in the field or even having a good product up the field. That stadium's a fucking dump.
Any other notable Redskin?
Trey Amos, they drafted a corner, so they might try to pair him up with Marshawn Lattimore. So that's pretty much all. I think that's all they really had. They drafted a wide receiver. I was trying to get to Dallas on the street so I could get
no, you're good.
What was their draft grade?
B.
A B.
Had a
B.
B.
Okay.
Yep, had a B. Yep.
That might be, just due to drafting in the middle of the pack.
And, like I said, when they drafted, when they got Tunsil,
they were like 26 or something.
Yeah, and then they made the trades for Tunsil and Debo, so they didn't pick as many times. They didn't pick as
right. Yeah, they loaded their picks for
29.
Yeah.
So what about the Dallas?
So in the first round, they drafted Tyler Booker from Alabama. So he's supposed to be called they think he's going to be the Jalen Carter stopper.
Yeah.
But his matchup against Carter had 2 sacks, so he didn't stop him. Because then Carter was then drafted, so Booker's been playing.
Yeah. So he's a guard center?
He's a guard.
Guard.
Yeah, yep. So he's the Zach Martin replacement, probably. Yeah, probably what they're hoping for. But yeah,
so first round guard.
First round guard. Yeah,
that's interesting. Usually you go tackle in the first round.
I mean, they need a lot of help on their line. They've got a lot of injuries, and then
like I said, they've had retirees too.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Bama guy, we have Dickerson. He was supposed to be a center, then we moved him to guard, and he's been a stud for us. So
yeah,
at Bama again, I think pulling from the SEC in the draft makes sense, and you're starting to see that kind of what the Eagles did, and it's paid out obviously well for us.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Dallas is probably trying to get on that train.
Yep,
teams taking notes and going like,
"Oh wow, this is how you succeed."
Their second round pick was, I'm gonna mess up his last name. It's Donovan Iziraku from
Iziraku.
Brian was one.
Yeah, it's a kid from Boston College.
Yeah.
So edge
he
rusher.
Fell that far?
44.
Wow.
Yep, second round. Yep.
He had first round talent.
Yeah, they had him. They said falling to us.
Yeah.
At 32 if Campbell didn't. So I think obviously, Howie valued Campbell better than Iziraku. But that's a good pick for him. So I know he was highly touted coming out. So going to 44, I don't know if that's due to playing at Boston College, not necessarily against
something
some of the better college teams. Yeah. Oh God, no. Let's not bring that up. What was it, the Combine All-Star or something? Yeah, basically just killed the Combine and he just couldn't play. But yeah, I'll digress. No, good pick for them.
Yeah, no, good pick for them, sure. Like I said,
that's basically telling us that Micah Parsons is gone, right? They can't sign him now. They just let him come to Philly.
I'm sure they'll figure out.
He might sign with us for a discount.
Even though he acts like number one. It's like he doesn't want to be there from his pod. He's always complaining.
Yeah.
But I think he was actually excited about that pick. Like that was one of those, because he's on that. He does that pod with the one guy. Like they react to all the picks. And Darius Slay was there with him and doing the. Darius Slay was, he's Pittsburgh now, so don't worry about that. So third round, 76 pick, they drafted Siobhan Revelle Jr., cornerback from East Carolina. So they got some secondary help they needed. Yeah,
they'll need it.
Now the next pick, though, the running back they drafted, Jadon Blue from Texas. I've been seeing the hype. I guess they got some hype for him, and they keep showing just him and Javonte Williams. They don't even mention Miles Sanders. They think this kid's just going to be. That's who they got. And I'm like...
Funny, I think Carolina did the same thing.
Carolina did the same thing, and it just makes you think, man, people wanted him back with us so much, and now he can't even... now he can't even make the... He can't even make the roster almost. It's something's... I know he's injured the 1 year with Carolina, but, it's is he that bad? Because, this kid didn't even have a snap yet, and they're just already going, he's going to be right up there with Javonte. I'm like...
Right.
Some other picks they had, they drafted linebacker Shamar James from Florida. Round 5, 152. Round 6, they drafted another offensive lineman, Ajani Cornelius, looks like, from Oregon. And then third round, they had 3 picks in the third round. They drafted 2 defensive tackles, Jay Toya from UCLA and Tommy King Basate from Maryland.
Nice.
Wow, these names are a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And And then the other pick was another running back, Phil Maffa from Clemson. So, and they got an A- grade for the whole thing. These guys are pretty gracious with the A.
Yeah, it seems like everybody. They're over here like Oprah. You get an A. You get an A. Redskins, fuck you.
Commanders got B for our division.
Yeah, Redskins.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, overall,
I don't
have the worst draft, was it?
Do
they have it ranked that way? I'll look at it, Brock. We can continue talking through. I'll go ahead and find it.
And, but yeah, like I said, yeah. So I mean,
so it looks like the division as a whole kind of drafted well.
The division got pretty good. Plus, they've also. But we can't. We haven't got that far yet. But so we talked about Debo. We talked. Yeah. So I mean, they've improved in some areas. So it's definitely.
The Commanders are definitely going to be. They're going to be competing with us. Cowboys always are too. You know, they added. Obviously some running back help to go with CD.
Fully
healthy. So they'll be there too.
They lost Trey Lance, so that's rough.
Yeah, it is. So
that's the one outfit for that guy.
So yeah, we mentioned it, but Shador.
I think that was the funniest thing of the whole draft.
He wasn't able to get drafted in the first day. He wasn't able to get drafted in the second day. So he fell all the way to the 5th round.
Yeah. Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't even their first quarterback taken, right?
Right. No, they took
Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel from Oregon.
Like, he's got to be just munching on that humble pie at this point, right?
Yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? They got Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. It's like, God, that quarterback room. Don't they have Flacco also?
Yeah, they do.
So that quarterback room is nuts.
Dude, if I was Flacco, I'd be like, hey, I don't need this crap. I'm out of here. Like, some people were like, oh, he's a veteran. I was like, no, Flacco's already won a Super Bowl. He just goes out there because he feels like he doesn't want to stop playing yet. He's not going to want to deal with all that bullshit there.
Right.
Because I mean, you still got Watson. I mean, I know he tore his Achilles, but that contract is still there until he gets convicted. So like, there's nothing you can do about that. And now you have 5 quarterbacks on the roster, and it just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah.
But I loved watching it. Like the Mel Kiper, did you see that? He
had freaking out.
Oh my God, he had a cow about how he's like, I don't understand how Shador is so far down. Like, how have they not picked him yet? And I'm like, did Dion pay you to just like be all irate about this all night?
Well, it's probably because he probably butchered every one of his meetings like he did with the Giants.
Right.
So he goes in there, he's not prepared. They try to test him on it. He doesn't like getting called out on shit that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, have a little class. Like, try to at least be professional here.
He was all like, if you want to change your future or something, pick me. And I was like, kid, you didn't even get to any good.
You didn't even change Colorado.
Like your dad did. Your dad made it popular, and Travis Hunter made it popular. That's not you at all.
Well, speaking of Travis Hunter, I mean, Jaguars, big trade.
Yeah.
They jump up.
They gave up a lot.
They gave up a lot.
Ton.
Which is surprising because they need more than Travis Hunter. I mean, granted, he may be able to fix 2 ends, cornerback and wide receiver, but
I mean, if any team was going to do that, that would be the one.
Yeah.
Plus, they have the youngest GM in the league. This is literally his first draft. He literally made a Madden trade.
32 years old.
Yeah, he made a Madden trade basically for getting Travis Hunter because we got to make a splash. Like we got to have
to talk
about. They did though. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what he does. I think they actually kind of listed him more as a wide receiver than they are.
He's another one. He's another one in the press conference was like, oh, he did say if I don't play both positions, I'm not going to play. And I was like,
before the draft.
Before the draft, he said that, and I'm like, what are you doing? Just you don't even know if you're gonna get where you get picked. Like, he probably is a better corner than any other wide receiver. But I mean,
we'll see. That'd be interesting. This year of hey, does he play both sides of the ball? And if
I
so,
would say
how much?
Try it out, but I don't think he's gonna make it the whole year.
Well, we'll see how training camp goes, and maybe they try him there to see what it's like. But playing corner against whoever Colorado's going up against, as opposed to going against superstar wide receivers, a little different.
I would love to see Justin Jefferson just whoop his ass. That'd be great.
I mean, well, you're looking at that division, right? Like, so the Texans, they have Tank Dell
and Nico Collins.
Yeah. Wasn't Tank Dell out this year too? Because of all of his
he's working his way back. He's getting tattoos more than he's working his way back.
Yeah, I saw that. They put
Halloween leg he's got going on.
They put him under so they get tattooed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then the Colts have Pierce, and then they have
Michael Pittman Jr.
Pittman. And then, so we'll see what Travis Hunter can do if he is going to play corner against those guys.
If he can do division matchups in the Titans.
It's a little easier, I think. The Titans, Well, I mean, according to Cam Moore, the best receivers in the league.
And the running backs, man.
If I ever wanted to play with
that was very fun.
So,
way to go for him. I mean, hey, number one overall pick.
So way to sell yourself as the number one. Yeah.
Hey,
which is insane.
Camps, man. They're smart.
Which is insane. He went first overall, and like only time you heard his name was when he got announced, and then it was all about where's Shador going. Yeah. And I was like, this kid got picked first overall, and they're just like, we don't care anymore.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't like how he did the whole bowl game and just how he didn't want to work out. So
and the way
I'm not 100% sold on
the
him.
way
anyway.
he plays, though, he just kind of sits there and goes like, "Oh yeah, I gotta throw the ball." Like he just looks like they call him like he's calm and collected, but I'm like, it looks like he don't give a shit. He's just like, "Oh yeah, you're open. Yeah, all right, take that ball away."
And by the way, so the draft grades from this guy Reuter from NFL.com, the Falcons B-, the Panthers B-, Bengals B-, and the Saints were a B-. That's the
Is that the lowest?
Wow, he never gave a C.
So he's on the A-B scale.
God.
Wow.
So you know how 2025, here we are. Fucking teams
Everybody gets a participation trophy.
God forbid we hurt feelings.
What an asshole just scared to ruin any kind of relationships he has with any franchise, I guess.
Yep.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
So, it was an interesting draft. It's tough when it's obviously awesome that the Eagles drafted last because they won the Super Bowl, but it's tough because you're waiting literally all day, and you have no idea who you're going to get because you don't know who's going to be there.
Hey,
so
the guy I said that the Eagles were going to take, James Pierce Jr., he actually got the Falcons traded up to grab him at 26.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully that guy turns out to be a stud and I actually look like I know something.
Yeah.
But I wish he would have been an Eagle.
You should put a bet on that.
Well, and you talk about how we're so low. Like the Niners get Michael Williams, linebacker from Georgia, like at 11. So like that was one. Obviously, people were like, "Oh, we're gonna get him." And then Jalen Walker, another Georgia edge player, goes to the Falcons at 15. So like that was some guys that we were kind of like, because we did the whole Georgia thing. They were like, "Oh, we might move up and get them, or we might just stay where we're at." And I was like, "Who knows?"
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't try to move up, especially with like as much draft capital as they have over the next two drafts. I was surprised they didn't try to unload some of that to maybe go up into the the mid-teens.
Mid-teens, yeah. One thing that did surprise me also was the tight end for the Bears that they drafted was a Loveland.
He went
first.
He went
Warren.
Oh,
everyone was really high.
Everybody.
So I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah.
I mean, great for the Colts to get him. He was, ranked number one tight end.
Might just be something.
Dude, that's Dallas Clark all day. He looks like him, 44. The same number. Like, that's literally like same kind of build and everything.
It could just be Ben Johnson liking the kid for what he's going to do there.
Michigan, Detroit.
So
maybe a little bit more, but it's just interesting to see that the Bears jump up to draft. Or they didn't jump up; they drafted the tight end from Michigan before Tyler Warren.
I think with Tyler Warren, though, is you wonder who's throwing the ball to him.
Yeah, well, that's to be determined.
Anthony Richardson.
And
it's his job to lose, right?
His job to lose,
we'll see what he does.
They have Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
there you go. I knew that name. Yeah, I was like, I know that name. I'm trying to figure.
Now he's got out of New York. Like he's going to be the next Andrew Luck.
Hey, you learned for a couple weeks over there in Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly. What a winning team was like. So
the Bengals drafted this Shamar Stewart kid from the on 17. He has yet to sign his deal.
Really?
He's holding out.
Yeah.
Well, they ain't got no money.
They got no money. They're like, it's the best you could do.
He was like, I didn't like my
Hold on.
contract.
Can you play fullback for us?
Apparently he had a whole 4 sacks last year, and now he's holding out. He's the only first round pick to have not signed it.
Well, unfortunately, he might have had a bigger NIL deal than what the Bengals can offer.
A&M's got a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the one kid for the Miami, the Texas quarterback, he could have got $8 million from NIL if he stayed, but he's only getting $4.5 now from Miami for his rookie deal. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to graduate from college sometime.
Yeah,
exactly. Matthew McConaughey's.
Yeah. All right. Ashton Genty goes to the Raiders. That's a good pick for the Raiders.
Yeah.
So.
I think everyone had that mocked for him to go there.
So I know Dallas was up there too before they went and signed all the.
I didn't see him falling to 12 though.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but Dallas may be jumping up to get him. So they did have a hole on running back before they brought in Williams and Sanders, and it made sense. Get a kid and have these guys kind of split time with them.
I can't tell what to make of the Raiders because they went and traded for what's his name, Geno.
Yeah.
And so now they extended him. I was like, what are you doing? Like,
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like I don't know if he's worth all that money. Like I know he had one decent year when he said everybody wrote me off, I write him back or something like whatever that quote.
I saw the prop for Genty was actually like one of some players, I think it was like Bleacher Report or something, put it out there. It was like one of the best like betting props for rookies. and would like him over 1,100 yards from scrimmage or something, or 1,100 rushing yards this year. So
just wonder about his usage. I mean, he was used a lot.
He was a bell cow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all they had, right?
Right.
And,
yeah.
He almost won a Heisman for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what he can
we'll
do
definitely say,
in the pros, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good fit for him.
So the 27, this pick annoyed me. The freaking Ravens getting Malachi Starks.
Yeah,
I mean, they already have Kyle Hamilton, and they pair him up with him. I was like, that's a hell of a two safety right there.
Yeah, that team always drafts defense pretty well.
They draft well in general. They typically do pretty well. I mean, the only thing they really missed on pretty consistently is receivers, right?
Yeah. You can't have Bateman and Zay Flowers.
Flowers has been a step.
Flowers has been fine. Yeah,
most of the draft picks that they have for receivers just don't turn out to be anything. So
they need to get him another. They need to get another piece, like another receiver in there.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, the NFL draft, like I said, it's way too early. I like the Eagles edition, honestly. We'll see what these other kids that they got can do. And as I mentioned, I don't think Campbell's going to be a big contributor this year, but
but if he is,
2026, I think that's where he comes.
I mean, look at Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith didn't step up until this year, and
that was his second year. Yeah. So
all this year,
right? Exactly. So I'm thinking a similar thing. Let him get healthy. You don't necessarily.
And it depends on where Fangio puts him. Like, I mean, if he is actually going to be linebacker, or maybe he moved Jalix Hunt from there and put him on edge because Hunt used to play safety in college, and they were like, "Well, we want you down here." And then now he could be solid. I mean, I already liked him anyway in the playoffs. He was great.
Yeah.
So I mean, we never know what Fangio might like him as. I mean, look at Bond, for instance. He wasn't starting, and then Fangio's like, "You're an All-Pro now." So
that was kind of the opposite. I think the Saints had him as an edge rusher.
That's right. Yes, and then
we kind of put him in that role as, okay, you be middle linebacker that's playing more coverage, and you can still rush, but for the most part, you're the quarterback of the defense, basically. So, and he flourished. So yeah, we'll see. NBA basketball playoffs started. So Timberwolves against Lakers. Currently the Wolves are up 3-1. So we'll see if they can close that one out, or if the Lakers get an early exit, which would be lovely to see. Just for all you LeBron haters, including myself out there.
He's 40 years old.
Yeah.
It's time to
it'd be nice if he played basketball instead of GM.
Yeah.
But, hey, you got Luka.
Yeah, I know.
Franchise up for success.
Like he's been quoted saying, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. So, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I have so much ammunition. I'm ready.
Knicks Pistons. Knicks up 3-1, looking to close that one out. Celtics Magic 3-1 as well. Pacers Bucks 3-1. Warriors Rockets 2-1 currently. So we'll see if the Warriors can close them out. Nuggets Clippers 2-2. Tied at this point. So yeah, that is a good series.
Kawhi's been playing nice.
Yeah. OKC Grizzlies. OKC actually already knocked him out 4-0.
Yep.
And another.
They just made that little play-in nonsense. They should never have been in there.
I still think that whole thing is nonsense, but that was the Sixers' only way of getting in the playoffs this year.
Just before they go play OKC, and then they get swept. It's like they've already played 6 games.
Mm-hmm. And then the Cavs and Heat, Cavs are up 3-0. So looking there's a lot of teams that are looking to.
Cavs have been that all year doing that to everybody.
Yep, which is I didn't see it happening. I mean,
they just have a really solid team.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of series look like they're one game away from closing out, and then we'll be in the second round. And then moving over to the NHL, not going to cover too much of the playoffs, but we had the draft lottery, and as Flyers fans, we're hoping for, I don't know, it's not ping pong balls or whatever stupid numbers that they do.
Yeah.
It's like a match game. Ridiculous. So, speaking of being ridiculous, the Flyers had the 4th worst record in the league this year, and they're drafting 6.
Yeah.
So they basically got jumped by 2 teams. The Islanders had a 3.5% chance of jumping up to the number 1 overall pick. Sure enough, did. So they jumped. They had the 10th worst record in the league, and they win the lottery. They get the number 1 overall pick. The Utah Mammoths, the newly named Mammoths.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool logo.
Yeah.
They won the second draw. They also they moved up 10 spots for the fourth overall pick. So Flyers, having the fourth worst record, should have drafted 4. Now they're down at 6. So hopefully maybe they get screwed over a little bit to help our Sixers get the number 1 overall pick. Kind of tit for tat.
I mean, honestly, but like the hockey draft this year hasn't been like hyped up like previous years.
No,
like,
yeah,
Bedard coming out like Bedard was like, oh,
when you have like 2 guys that are like the next, Crosby or whatever.
Heard anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those kids get drafted in hockey. I just go, cool.
Yeah,
no idea who you are at all. Like,
we suck at it anyway.
Yeah,
so
right.
Second, Nolan Patrick, and then he gets concussed, and you can never see again or something.
Yeah, and then you have the Van Riemsdyk. You missed out on that lottery. The Blackhawks go out and get Kane, Patrick Kane.
Ortiz.
No, it was Patrick Kane. That one he went 1. We got Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk never really was the guy. Yeah, but Kane goes out. Yeah. Kane goes out. He wins a couple cups and just a superstar. So it's just been the Flyers' luck. They haven't had that lucky draw, but. Fingers crossed. NBA draft lottery coming up in a couple weeks. Maybe the Flyers help us out a little bit by missing out. Maybe the Sixers could jump up to that 1 spot.
Yeah,
Cooper Flag, maybe. So, Well, I mean, that's basically all we wanted to cover today. As far as the sports, Cam, let's jump into the mailbag.
Yeah, so I got 2 submissions. One from he's got to be our number 1 listener at this point, Kevin. So again,
elite. That's an elite listener.
Our elite listeners. If anyone wants to stop hearing Kevin's questions, please reach
please
out.
send us.
Send anything.
So then I have a reason to tell him that that's full.
Yeah.
So he says, "Hello, gents. Great episode again. Enjoying the vibes. Brock, you should give Goose Island 312. It's a wheat ale.
Okay.
That's a good one.
It's not like an IPA.
Okay,
it's a wheat ale, similar
Island.
to like almost like a Belgian, like a Blue Moon type of beer.
Okay. 312.
312. Goose Island's the brewery. 312 is what the beer.
They're based out of Chicago, I believe.
He said, I think you would enjoy that one, especially this weekend.
Oh, thank you, man.
That was Easter weekend, but so I've had it before. It's a pretty good beer. I like their IPAs a lot myself.
The Goose Island is good stuff.
There's a little bit of a beer suggestion for you.
They actually had a Goose Island in Philly that we would go to every
time. If anybody else has beer suggestions, I mean, I drink Miller Lite mostly, so But I mean, I've had a couple of different craft beers. I just haven't had any that some of the craft beers.
There's a bunch of lagers out there.
There's just some of them just a little too much hoppy, and I'm just like, I don't. It takes me a little longer to drink it. Where I'm like, I can drink so many of these and have a good time, and I'm just drinking them.
Brock drinks for quantity, not quality.
Yeah, I can suggest one. The Yardbird from this billion.
Yeah, that's a good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, lager. That's a good lager.
Yeah, I've had some of their early ones, but I've not had any of their beers in a while.
Yep. All right, so upcoming weeks we're going to be, hey Brock, try this.
Try this. Try some other beer.
So thanks for the suggestion. Okay, so what else has he got?
So his question's actually kind of a funny one. So he says, with the passing of Big Papi Francis, what has been the record of the Phillies in the years the Pope has died, going back to like the 1950s?
So obviously it's a little morbid because the Pope passed away.
The Pope passed away recently, so he's wanting us to research how the Phillies have done during the years of the Pope's passed.
Yeah.
So he says, did the Popes die so the Phillies could fly, or are y'all in pain and suffering? And then he says, the Cubs are elite, sweeping the bum Phillies, and obviously the Phillies took
2 of 3. Sucks to suck, nerd.
Yeah. So, all right. So I did some research here. So Pope Pius the 12th, he died in 1950.
Yep.
So the Phillies record in 1958 was 69 and 85. So maybe he was a huge Phillies fan, just said, it's time to end it.
Yeah.
That was back with like Richie Ashburn and Robin.
He called that number that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they didn't have Google that. But yeah, so not great start there. Then Pope John the 23rd, he died in 1963. The Phillies were 4th in the NL that year with 87 and 75. Notable name from that team would have been Tony Taylor.
Okay. Yeah.
So Phillies, back then they didn't necessarily have playoffs expanded like they do nowadays. So they're 4th. They didn't really make anything there. But at least over 500. So great year for them. Moving along to Pope Paul VI. He died in 1978. The Phillies actually had divisions at that point, so we were first in the NL East at 90 and 72.
Ah, there we go.
Unfortunately, we lost to the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series 3-1.
Shohei play on that team?
Nope. Unfortunately, Shohei was not around then because his numbers would have been even better.
Yeah.
But we did have Mike Schmidt, Larry Boa, Greg Wyszynski, Steve Carlton was on that team.
So that's a lot. That's a lot of the core that did bring a championship in
1980. Yeah. So I was hoping to see if we could find one that was actually going to be a championship year, but unfortunately not.
Not looking good for my bet.
I guess so. This is sad to hear or sad to read about, but Pope John Paul I, he also was Pope and died in 1978. He was a Pope for 33 days.
Oh, wow.
So some fun facts about John Paul I is he didn't even want to be the Pope. He got elected, didn't want it. He was the first pontiff named with two names. So Pope John Paul, he was the first one to bring out the two names, and I believe he did that because of the predecessors that were popes.
Right.
And then he, like I said, he only lasted 33 days as Pope because he passed away reading a book. So
I was laughing when you said fun fact. That's like, he said he died. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't help. I had to get it out. Like I was like, oh my God, you said that right after that.
So he died in the Vatican, sleeping with a book on his chest. So don't read before you go to bed.
That's why I don't do it.
At least it wasn't on the John like Elvis. At least he wasn't on the John like Elvis.
Yeah. All right. So then Pope John Paul II came in. He died in 2005. So the Phillies in 2005, they were 88 and 74.
He had a long run then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They some popes wouldn't go for a long time.
Yeah.
So Phillies were second in the NL East that year. That was Ryan Howard's rookie year. My good. Started kind of the core of
the next championship. Yeah.
So maybe
hey, there we go.
2028.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much the start of the core in the mid to late 2000s. Pope Benedict XVI died in 2022. We all know what happened with the Phillies in 2022. We went 87-75 wildcard team, lost in the World Series. So unfortunately, it was 1 year too early, I guess.
Yeah.
And then again, Pope Francis, Big Papi Francie, died on April 21st, and the Phillies record at that point was 13-10. So we'll see what happens this year.
What happens, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the spark of the core that we were hoping, but maybe the 2022 was.
Yeah.
It's like you can kind of see some. What was it? 2005 with the Howard in 08. So it's like 22 to 25.
Yeah.
I've seen some numbers here.
Yeah.
So thanks for giving us the good luck there, Kev.
There's some hope.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens this year.
So also the new Pope, the newly appointed Pope, Villanova guy.
Yeah. Chicago guy. I know Kevin was hyped about this, but he's actually a White Sox fan.
Yeah, his brother was on TV. Yep, he's a White Sox fan.
So Kev was excited about that, but nope, he's White Sox. So
the big question about the new Pope is his Wawa order, because people said we know he's going to a Wawa. We just know what he had.
What's his hoagie?
We got to figure out what it is.
Does he say water or water?
Yeah, right.
These are actually very valid questions.
Yeah,
if he goes to Villanova, it's like, does he have the accent?
Yeah.
Friends like Chicago accent.
Yeah, exactly. The Bears.
But yeah, so thanks, Kev, for sending that in.
Thank you,
hopefully you enjoyed a little bit.
And I will try that beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so some feedback. This isn't necessarily a question, but I want to kind of turn it into a question, make it a little bit of a discussion for us.
Yeah.
So Kenny from Middletown, so he disagreed with our recent podcast when we talked about Embiid winning the MVP.
Right.
I know we got completely sidetracked into that conversation anyway.
Yeah.
We basically kind of all agreed upon that we thought it was a little bit of voter fatigue as why Embiid won.
Right.
We obviously are aware that Embiid was deserved of an MVP that year. It's just, it was more kind of like Jokic has been doing things that not many players have done before.
And consistently.
And like when you look at like baseball specifically, like they always have wars of stat.
Mm-hmm.
So Jokic's like efficiency across the NBA has just been through the roof the past couple of years. So I know that's what kind of helped get him his MVP awards in the past. So that's why we were kind of, or at least why I was trying to say that it might have been a little bit of voter fatigue.
Right.
We saw it with Kobe. We saw it with LeBron. We still see it with LeBron. I mean, he's not MVP anymore. We're starting to see it with Jokic. He's probably going to be shy winning it this year.
Right.
So we'll see kind of, what happens with it. But So Kenny just goes on to kind of defend his point as to why he thinks, Embiid was the best player in the world for those 2 years. During his MVP year, he averaged a point a minute, grabbed 11 boards, and he's a top 5 rim protector. But what I'm trying to turn this into a discussion about is kind of like, why does Embiid get so much hate from fans and from media, from not just Philly fans, but fans around the league? I think that's more the hate around the league is because he's not healthy. He can't stay healthy. He can't produce in the playoffs because he's not healthy in a lot of those games. So,
and some of those we mentioned before, some of those are like the freak injuries.
Yeah,
you get elbowed in the face. Yeah. You get Bell's palsy. Like it's one thing after another. So it's like he has had some unfortunate luck when it comes to injuries.
Yeah,
but they haven't made it past the second round. Yeah. So it's like Philadelphia expecting a team to win, and this guy to be the guy. I think there's a lot of, let's say,
and he can be the most dominant player on the field at times, but court. I don't know about the field, but then he's not on the court. Like we said, he can't play back to back now. He's injured again. I mean, so the Heat is really just because they know what he can be, and he just isn't there to show it. So it's just like you can't really rely on him. Like even if they're playing well in the beginning of the year, it's like, well, get ready because it'll be some injury again.
I think a lot of it too. It's like he comes into the season out of shape. It's like, come on, man. Like there's things that you can obviously work on in the off season to kind of stay in shape. I know just recently this last year, he wanted to play on the Olympic team, and he wasn't even in shape for that. But he comes back from an but he comes back from an injury to play on the Olympic team.
He can't play for us.
And then he can't play for us this season. So it's like I think a lot of that is, the team's just tired of the disappointing years of not being able to get through the second round. I mean, his MVP year, it's like where'd they get? They got bounced by the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
So they go to 7. They go to 7 against them, but it's like awful. Yeah, I mean, and I'm pretty sure Harden had to win one of those games, dropping 50, which was unheard of too. But
also Harden's known for not getting past that round either.
Right.
So it was they always said it's like, oh well, but he was still he thought Embiid could get you guys through that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the hate is more driven around the fact that he has not succeeded in the playoffs.
It's been a letdown, right? Mm-hmm. Like this whole process era of Sixers was, we're going to get these guys, we're going to compete. We have the success in the regular season, then we get to the playoffs, and that's it.
And like I said, I think the unlucky injuries. That was the year I think that they should have won. Was the year that Kawhi hit that shot that basically sent them home. Great shot, I mean, I will say it's like he's not a Ben Simmons hate. At least he plays, and when he does play, like he plays well. It's just I think his body's just not doing him any favors.
Ben Simmons made the playoffs this year, didn't he?
The Clippers? He did.
I also think he got benched.
I'm just thinking of anything to be like, well, Simmons. But
I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the hate is look at like what Philadelphia media does. Let's look at like the Phillies, right? We've been talking Phillies a lot. Let's talk about the Phillies. Out of the years that even when we won, Ryan Howard still gets a lot of hate from media because of that contract and then the injuries.
Oh yeah.
Chase Utley never performed like Ryan Howard did, but Chase Utley's looked at as like a golden god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Chase Utley can never be touched. He's a Philadelphia legend by far. Obviously, I'm not saying anything bad.
Fuck the Mets one time. People were like, "We love him."
World fucking chance.
I get it. Like
he's my goat. So yeah.
No, I wasn't talking shit about it, but I get what he's saying. There's no reason to hate Howard at all.
And then look at Eagles, right? So like Donovan. Everyone has things to say about Donovan. Donovan was such a stud. Brian Dawkins, defensive safety, didn't have like anything great. He was all.
He just played hard, and it's like, but he's that gritty, like give it your all the whole time. Yeah. It's like, and Donovan was the biggest. Like, I think that Donovan did more with less than anybody that I've seen, through my time watching.
I mean, they talk about how many times we made the championship game. We made it 4 years. McNabb did that. Like, he won the Super Bowl.
And then half those times he didn't have anybody. He had Brian Westbrook as a running back, and then Todd Pinkston, Torn Small, any other no-name receiver you can think of, until they finally added T.O. But he was still there in the championship games every year. So sure, did he come up short? Yes, but you know what? The defense could have came up short too, and it's like that's where Dawkins was, but he doesn't get the same kind of flack. So I think it just comes with being.
And they're like, "Oh yeah," I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
I think that comes with just being the face of the franchise. So Donovan was the face of the franchise. So immediately, what they're going to do is they're going to hold him to a certain standard of, all right, if we don't win, you're the guy, you're the reason, and that's exactly what Embiid's falling into. He's the face of the franchise. 100%. So when they don't succeed in the playoffs and they get bounced in the second round or bounced in the first round, it's Embiid's fault, whether it's his or not, So
we don't say anything bad about Harper.
Well,
Yes,
I mean
he has performed though too, right?
That's the thing.
He won an MVP. He's performed in the playoffs. We still haven't won anything, obviously.
Right.
But he's that same type of thing, right? Like he's in that everyone loves him.
He hasn't.
We don't want to say anything bad about him. As Embiid's kind of a similar trajectory, he just hasn't had the length of the postseason wins of Harper.
I mean, yeah, but Harper went to the World Series. Right? Harper went to the NLCS. So Harper's done that. Embiid hasn't touched
and Harper's willing to do stuff like move positions and like obviously he's all about the city. Like he's it's not just about him. He's like, I'm here to help however we can.
So
I mean, I just think that it's I think a lot of it is driven from Philadelphia media, the way that they pose questions, the way that they interact with players, I think is what drives a lot of the hate locally.
Right.
And you're right, Kenny. Like a lot of it's not deserved, right? Like Embiid, he's put his whole body on the line. He's over here having medical opinions about breaking his hip and realigning his legs
so he can continue to play, right?
So like we're not doubting Embiid's like heart and wanting to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're being realistic about the expectations with Embiid.
Right.
Some of the worst people are
if we can't expect if we can't rely on him to be on the court, then what good is he?
Well, look at this year.
Yeah,
he wasn't on the court for the most part, and they go out and get Paul George, just aging contract.
That was terrible.
And then Maxey was hurt. I think they just shut him down because
Maxey's looked at like the kid of the franchise, right? Like everyone has great things to say about Maxey. He missed half the year too.
Yeah,
mentioned it all.
Well, and that's what I was saying. I think they sat him.
Yeah. So, towards the end there when he had the finger thing.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? It's like we're not going to make the playoffs, and even if we do, it's like Maxey's not good enough to carry a team.
But again, it's just like I think a lot of it's just the way the media portrays these athletes to listeners and fans. And
like I said, I think a lot of it's driven off of the face of the franchise. Yeah. So that was the Donovan in my mind.
That John Clark guy. He always has some kind of stupid title of his article, and he's
a clickbait kind of guy.
Oh yeah, it's just you just go in the comments, and it's full of people who just don't have to talk about, and they just go in there and drive right into the heat. And I'm like, you produced this by your question. Like, and like. That's the people on was it WIP? They're awful. Like they cause so many fucking problems when they talk.
Preach, brother, I hate it.
Oh my god! Every time they talk or they tweet something, I just go, like who gave them a platform? Like,
well, I mean that's the
what's
platform.
The Brody guy? The Brody guy. He yells a lot.
Broads.
Yeah,
but that's honestly what drives their listenership.
No, I know. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
people come in and try and argue their takes, and they have those opinions.
I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of Philadelphia fans out there that rely on that WIP, and they want to know why the hell is Embiid not going to ever perform. And, they're not looking at it. I'm not saying that we're right, but I think we all have a collective mindset of, there's reasons behind it, and I think the hate is driven because he's the face, and they haven't succeeded. He's the face of the process. He's the face of basically this period of time where they tanked to get talent.
Yeah.
And it hasn't produced. So I think a lot of things are driven into that to where there's just that hatred there.
And it doesn't help when the other two teams around you are going to Super Bowls and
going to the World Series, making the playoffs.
And you're not. So they're like, dude,
they're holding you to the same bar.
And exactly. Well, the city is.
I mean,
the city's like
Philadelphia is a football fan. We all know that, right? So that makes sense. But so that's where it is, good discussion.
Yeah. No, I still think that, I don't necessarily agree that Embiid should have. I think it was.
I don't think we're wrong
voter fatigue.
I
mean, it could be one or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right.
I mean, you look at stats. They're very comparable when it comes down to those years.
In the 22-23 year, Embiid averaged 33 points. Jokic averaged 24. Embiid had 10 rebounds. Jokic 11 rebounds. Embiid 4 assists. Jokic 9 assists. So almost a triple double.
Yeah, he's averaging a triple-double, basically.
Embiid 1.7 blocks, Jokic 0.7. But obviously, Jokic isn't a defensive player.
It wasn't that the year that Embiid and them were like he wouldn't play with fourth quarters because like you guys were winning. So like he was just he would get all his points early on. Then so like,
and they'd rest him in the fourth.
He averaged 34.6 minutes per game.
Yeah,
Jokic averaged 33.7.
So, like I said, they're very comparable in the stats.
Yeah.
I think the plus minus was pretty alarming between the two.
Yeah, the plus minus, Embiid was plus 424, Jokic was plus 640.
Yeah.
Granted, the Nuggets did go on to win the championship that year, so obviously a different caliber of team.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's also the same thing that like we were supposed to compete for a championship that year too. I mean, he wins the MVP, and then we go to Boston, and Boston has our number.
And didn't Boston lose to the Heat that year, and the Heat lost to the Nuggets?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, Butler. Yeah.
But regardless, so thanks Kenny for sending over feedback.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate it.
Hearing from you.
So, anything else on the mailbag?
No, that's all we got so far.
No. How about you, Brock? Anything on Twitter?
No.
Any outlandish comments?
Well, I'm sure there's
been some of those. I mean, like I said, like basically, I kind of said it with like the WIP, like something. Like, they always just they get in there with all kind of shit about the Phillies. Like, I mean, I guess I can say it. People still talk about Stubbs like constantly, and I'm on there all the time trying to get people to like, can we give this a rest?
Dude,
like,
we lost 5 in a row. We need the vibes.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like.
Losing 5 with the Stubbs in that clubhouse.
And then like they keep talking about when Marsh was down there too. They're talking about how like they go, wow, this lineup for this AAA team is like so stacked. Like they're playing better than the major league team. I'm like, these guys don't matter right now.
Well, they're playing minor league competition.
They're playing minor league competition. Yeah, I'm like, these guys do not matter right now.
$700 million.
Just because you missed Marsh throwing some water on his head, if he's got a 113 batting average, and it's like no. And then Stubbs is just there, and they go, well, what's he doing? Can we interview him? No, we don't care. We shouldn't care. He's down in AAA.
I mean, I know his replacement's not lighting the world on fire.
I know. I mean, but it's just like you need the catchers play one day so JT can get a day off, and then you hope JT plays.
Yeah, but when you can clearly see like, all right, guys are running on you, you're throwing the ball into center field.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure his batting average is lower than Marsh's. So
right. No, I mean,
it's tough to see. I know Stubbs came up a couple of years ago, and he actually was pretty good. Like he actually produced offensively, and it was you could put him behind the plate and give JT a day off and not feel like you were losing that much production or defensive production. But unfortunately, with Marshawn this year, I don't know what's going through his head, but it's just or what's going on. But he has not been good, and
he's not even helping the pitching.
No, it's.
I know. I just had some hype for him. He needs a switch hitting catcher. I thought maybe like he could get.
Well, he showed
he's a switch hitting out.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
This was early. This is
he's a switch hitting at bat that doesn't result in anything.
Stubbs is just an out though. He's just an out.
He's a vibes guy though, man.
Yeah,
let him live the life in the clubhouse, dude.
Yeah. So
stop hating.
I can't stand
him. Who do you hate more, LeBron or Garrett Stubbs?
Oh, LeBron. That's a common knowledge right there.
Yeah.
I just can't stand him at all.
That's Laker fan Brock, by the way.
Hoping he gets eliminated.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned before, we were at a bachelor party over the weekend, and we did some interesting bets.
Yeah, love Brian for this one. Betting on pitch speed.
Pitch speed, yeah. So we were just messing around, just going through what you can bet on in Virginia, and I saw a thing. It was like, oh, miles per hour. We could bet on the miles per hour.
Yeah.
So then it's like, my strategic mind's thinking, I'm like, all right, like we're watching this live on the TV while we have our betting apps up when we're at a bar. So it's like, it just shows you how much degenerates we are.
Yeah, it's the most degenerative gambling that I've ever been involved in.
A little alcohol.
Yeah, 100%. So we're sitting there. We're sitting there. We're like, all right, the count's 3-1. He's probably trying to get over, fastball here. Let's go over 96 or whatever. And it's like, hey, we actually did pretty well. We did pretty well.
One monitor change up.
We're sitting in Ubers. We're sitting in Ubers, and we're literally betting pitch speed on a game that like we're watching off of like.
You weren't watching.
It was on the app.
On the app.
We were just guessing.
What would the speed? What did it say? Oh, yeah.
So no, that was actually pretty fun.
It was a lot.
Unfortunately, we're not able to bet that in Delaware. Unfortunately, but it was.
Betting in Delaware sucks.
Yeah, Bet Rivers is the worst.
Yes.
Traveling around,
get legal in Delaware.
Yeah, for real. DraftKings is awesome. But yeah, just traveling around to different states and, being in Delaware, you're actually fortunate because you could hit New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia, not too far away either. And actually correct myself, we were in Maryland at the time that we were doing these bets. But it gives you the opportunity to test out different, betting platforms. And speaking of which, I was down in Florida and I downloaded the Sleeper Picks. Absolutely hate it. It is literally, I didn't even know it till I went in. So I downloaded it and you basically have to put parlays together. And I'm like, I hate parlays as it is anyway, because I always am like, oh, I'm going to miss it by one. So I'm losing all my money here. So it did give you the option where you can kind of reduce the winnings by getting 2 or 3 or whatever. But you can tease it a little bit, but I absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any sports gambling is legal other than
that was the only thing.
I think DraftKings has like the Pick Six.
Yep.
Prize Picks or something like that. This may be legal there, but it's not anything like what we can even. At least we can do what we can with that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So Florida, not a good state to bet in. But, the pitch speed was a fun change of pace. I mean, we were doing the same thing at the Mets game when we were there watching it. We were like live betting the. Actually, no, we couldn't. It was in DC.
Yeah,
and we weren't able to bet the miles per hour. We can only bet, the normal Bet Rivers crap that we had.
But, I couldn't figure out the app either.
It might have saved us money. We'll see.
Yeah.
But any other notable bets that you had?
No, I mean, other than the live over under, thinking that the under of 15.5 for the Phillies Marlins, and then Jordan Romano comes in and just totally wasted my bet. So.
Yeah, that's typical.
I mean, honestly, this is gonna sound bad, bad fandom here, but the Phillies were scoring insurance runs, and I was like, guys, what are we doing?
It's my bet.
And they needed every fucking run of one of those runs.
Yeah.
So, luckily, they got the W. I'll lose my $15 bet.
Yeah, exactly. So, fantasy updates. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. I have been terrible about putting my starting pitchers in. So that's
what I love about fantasy baseball. As long as you're active, you'll start doing well.
That's been killing me. So
week 4 matchup.
Week 4 matchup. Yeah.
I went 6-4 against Stealing Anthony. Said
Tony.
I got you, bud.
Yep.
Barely got him in ERA. My ERA, I had 46.2 innings. He had 40. I had an ERA of 3.09. He had an ERA of 3.15. So we were really close on a lot of categories there. I beat him by 1 RBI. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a very close matchup. So I could have went either way, but came out on top.
I had our good friend Kenny, as you mentioned earlier. I ended up winning the week 5-4. I won all of the hitting categories and lost all but wins in the pitching categories. So,
Did you guys tie that one?
We tied wins, yeah. But going back to the one, he beat me by 1K. I probably left the pitcher on the bench. Whip was really close. He crushed me in net save holds. But as far as batting, other than I had one more home run, I basically covered all of those. So, Brock, how'd you do?
So I played against Hot Corner Justin.
Justin.
I won 8-2.
Hey!
Yeah, that's my best week so far.
Hey,
boy, are you out of the basement out of that?
I think so, yeah. I think I'm doing
maybe in 9th.
Makes me feel a little better about figuring it out as I go, making sure I put my people in lineups so as they go each day. I got injuries though, man. I'm getting screwed on that. So some days I just have guys not playing at all. I'm like,
So this week I got Tim. Shout out to Tim. Let's see, Cameron, you're playing Boo. And
Brendan.
And I'm playing
Brock.
Horner.
Oh, that's Kevin.
That's Kevin.
It's Kevin.
That's elite Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, take it easy on him, man. You don't want to beat up on him too much.
I'll try
you might
your
not.
If you take it easy.
There you go. So that gives everybody a little bit of fantasy updates. Upcoming episodes. Obviously, we have more baseball to come. We'll eventually have the NBA draft lottery that hopefully the Sixers will be able to get a little lucky. We'll see. And then NFL schedule is going to be released in a couple of days, a couple of weeks. So maybe we can kind of follow what we did with the MLB. Maybe not so, or definitely way too early. Predictions of wins, losses, and who's going to win the division. Might just stick to the NFC East. But if people want us to go down, the whole league. Let us know.
Send your feedback over, guys.
Yeah. So look forward to it. Everybody, feel free. Like I said,
comment on the Facebook page,
Twitter, whatever.
Twitter,
Give Brock something to do.
Give me something.
Subscribe.
I love to argue, so I will go back and forth with you. I will.
Yeah, and
it's fun and banter.
But most of it's just Brock's takes. So
yeah.
if he says something ridiculous, it's probably just his. Like,
yeah, I'll own up to it. I'll put like a little thing signature like Brock. I'll own up to it. Like, that was me. Yeah.
So, and then obviously, send some questions, things like that you want us to talk
Your
about.
suggestions, like Kevin did. Thank you again. Yep.
So awesome. Well, until next time. Thanks everybody. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Peace.